Hey guys, what's going on? This is Kyle here for the Chargers podcast, letting you know the recap of the game. As you guys can see, Zach cannot join us today. He's been feeling underneath the weather this week, so it would just be me recapping the game and kind of just going forward of how I felt about the Chargers. In other news, though, I was able actually to be able to check out SoFi Stadium this week. It was an awesome experience. Definitely a beautiful stadium, a lot bigger than I expected. It felt forever to just walk around the stadium. It was like a gigantic spaceship, and it just took forever to even get to the spot where we needed to go on the outside. And that was just the outside, but it's definitely a beautiful looking stadium. Things like a river on the side. It was just amazing. A lake, I know you call it Rivers Lake on the outside, but overall, I definitely enjoyed the experience of my time at SoFi Stadium. Now, when it comes to the game, it didn't go exactly to where I wanted to go, but that's why I wanted to recap what happened during this game. Um, Watching it live, I definitely felt the beginning was very close. It was a defensive battle towards the beginning. It was stoppage after stoppage, and then finally a field goal by the Vikings, and then the Chargers come back with their own field goal. But overall, I felt as though the Vikings definitely outplayed the Chargers, especially in the second half, taking possession within the game. The Chargers had the ball 36 minutes, 25 seconds compared to the Chargers' possession of 23 minutes and 45 seconds. So definitely having that time of possession had an impact on the game. Um, so some of the things that actually happened during the game that I wanted to go over was note for the Chargers. I think one of the things that I was able to see as positive was stopping the run. Dalvin Cook got 94 yards rushing. However, he only averaged 3.6 yards per carry. So that's actually a good thing to see that the Chargers were able to stop him. I think Madison had a rushing yards of 16 and after 4 carries, so he was only averaging 4. So it was definitely good to see that as well, because we were able to have some backups on our defensive lines. Kenneth Murray was back again. Nwosu was also doing well along with Bosa, and Linville Joseph also did a great job on the line. So I felt that that was a good part among our defense throughout the entire game. But having 36 minutes of being out there on the field must have been a challenge. But when it comes to our secondary, it was definitely beat up for sure. We didn't have Michael Davis. We used Tavon Campbell, and he was getting his ass whooped. Definitely getting his ass whooped with Justin Jefferson, who was, for his stats, he was receiving around, for Justin Jefferson, he definitely got 9 catches into the game with 143 yards. When I was just watching it in SoFi Stadium, I was like, man, get that guy covered. He was definitely getting some plays out there, and it was just no match against Campbell. And missing some players like Michael Davis, um, Nasir Adderley, he was out for the game, and also Webb was out for the game. So we used Tavon Campbell and Gilman as our safety and cornerbacks, and I think it made a difference in the game. On defense, we were able to put a lot of pressure on Cousins, making him making him make a lot of rushes to his passes, but it just wasn't enough. People like Jefferson and Thielen were out there receiving some catches. Conklin was able to get the 2 touchdowns needed, and it was just definitely a better game for the Vikings the entire game. When I thought about the uh, first half of the game, it was 13-3. I wasn't really too worried about the game because we definitely had a chance to manage the clock. All I was thinking to myself was, score a touchdown, which they were able to do. It was 13-3. They were able to finally get a rushing touchdown by Roundtree in the second quarter. And for me, it's like they were able to get a stop on the Vikings. And I was thinking to myself, this is good. We're able to kind of maybe possibly get more points on the board, possibly tying the game, because it was around 10-13 when halftime hit. But I knew that the Chargers had the ball within the third quarter. So all they had to do was definitely just get the ball back and take control of this game. So I felt for me, the Chargers' light of hope was within the second quarter and then the beginning of the third quarter. But after that touchdown, they were able to get a punt off the Vikings. But unfortunately, the Chargers offense after that moment, after that second touchdown to Eckler, there was just no momentum in the Chargers. There was no fight. And the Vikings scored easily 2 touchdowns. Um, Within the third quarter, it was a fourth down play. It was around the 2 or 3 yard line, and Cousins was able to find Conklin right there in the end zone, and that was difficult to watch. I mean, it was still manageable, still 20-17, but it was like, man, we need to stop Cousins at that time. But he was able to find Conklin in the end zone, and just for me, it's like, okay, well, we need to get our offense going, and unfortunately, they could not. There was just too much punting, a lot of drop passes. Eckler within the second quarter had an open catch in the middle of the field to possibly, cause it more of a allow more points before the halftime, but it just didn't happen. Mike Williams dropped a big pass in the fourth quarter, so there was just a lot of missed opportunities. I think within the drops with the Chargers, I think that was big, and just having an offensive rhythm going. It just didn't happen in the game. Other notes within the game, there were just not good punt recoveries. When we ever punted the ball to the Vikings, they probably averaged around 23 points in yards, and it just made it challenging to stop that. So just for me, having time of possessions, not dealing with the punt, weighing heavily on the defense, which I thought they did a pretty great job. I think our defense as a whole did a pretty good job. It just was challenging to have them out there for 36 minutes within the game. We needed more of the Chargers offense to be out there, and it was just unfortunate not that to happen. I think they were definitely beat up, and I just think that for me, not having that attack on offense, the ability to go for on fourth down, I think it just made a difference in the game. The Vikings definitely beat us for sure. As I said before, one of the things to note among injuries, not having Adderley, not having Michael Davis was big. Hopefully we get them back too, but no excuses. This is something that they needed to do in coaching, and how to, to be a contender within the NFL, you have to be able to kind of adjust and adapt to whoever players we're on, whether it's our first string, second string, third string, and for us, I feel like we could have definitely done a better job on our offense. And, whether we're using different players, just like our offensive line, we're still not using within our right guard and right tackle. We're not using our starters, but we need to be able to kind of step up and be able to kind of take control. Kendricks did a great job taking a sack on Herbert. And I think for us that we need to be able to kind of, have more of that offensive urgency, especially at the end of the game. And it was just difficult to watch. They tried to come alive at the end of the game, but it just was too late. They were able to give the Vikings a touchdown within 7 minutes of the game. And I think that was definitely brutal for the defense and the Chargers in general. So I think injuries did play a factor, but